At Crop King Seeds, we sell the finest marijuana seeds in the world. Grown organically with original genetics, every seed is cultivated for large yields, high THC content, and measured for both CBD and CBN levels. Did we mention we sell more than 20 of the world's best marijuana strains in feminized, auto-flowering, medical, and regular varieties, including White Widow, Blueberry, Purple Kush, Haze Extreme, and so many more. Through our website and friendly call support team, our seeds are available for direct order with speedy worldwide shipping. Crop King Seeds are also sold in over 100 locations worldwide.
Excuse me, I'm looking to buy some Crop King seeds.
Look no further, my friend.
Wow, they're here and in so many strains.
Buy your seeds now, in-store or online at cropkingseeds.com, or call us toll-free at 1-844-CROP-KING. That's 1-844-276-7546.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees with paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rest. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Hello, you are watching the second episode of Time for Hemp on the Perone Alliance Medical Marijuana TV network. Thank you for tuning in. And it is an honor to be part of the broadcast. Oh, mercy me. I want to say thank you. Oh my. To Lynette Shaw for making it possible. I was going to be off to Shady Pines Nursing Home, retiring, turning timeforhemp.com, our little groovy website. Oh, where's our little groovy website at? There it is. Just a minute. Bingo. Turning our website back into a time capsule. But Lynette said she had a new network that she wanted to work together on, and she wanted to help raise the voice of the cannabis movement about how important it is to end cannabis prohibition. And I said, well, all right, I'll do that, Lynette, because I love you, and jeepers, I'm retiring, and it sure beats going to Shady Pines, I'll tell you that right now. So, I'm not going to Shady Pines, but I am learning how to operate the equipment here, and so is she. We just got the keys to the network, yay! We're going to be doing cartoons. We are looking forward to that. Hemp-educated cartoons. That'll hypnotize you about the facts about paper, fiber, fuel, medications, and all the jobs you can create. And I'm singing to the choir. Sorry. We're going to have guests on. We're going to be doing simulcast. We got new content coming on with new hosts, which we're very excited about. We're going to be putting a spotlight on musicians that are in the cannabis movement. You know, one of the sad things is that there's a lot of talented people in the cannabis movement who can sing and harmonize and write beautiful music, and they even deserve Billboard awards, but do they get any attention? No, because they're singing about what? And is that fair? I mean, Paul McCartney and Pink and Lady Gaga could get together. The three of them could do a fantastic song about the need to end cannabis prohibition. If you heard anything about it at all, it'd be how it was leading the world to hell in a handbasket. So on this network, we know they're heroes. We know that they're superstars. And we know that they need a spotlight put on them so people can find their work and hear their music, buy tickets to their concerts, get their CDs, and show their appreciation for all they're doing to make the world a better place. So we got a lot of great content that we're going to be putting together here on the big network at MAMM TV. And I got a lot of programming from the past, too, that we're going to share as well. Like, we're going to use this as a way of putting a spotlight on people who are no longer here with us. But that doesn't mean their voice should be quiet. There are people like Nutt, whose son had cancer, and she fought all the way to the Supreme Court to allow her son, a veteran, to be given be given cannabis for his cancer. The day the Supreme Court ruled in her favor, her son passed away. But she became known as Grandma Marijuana all along the way. Of course, we fell in love with her. She was so charming. A cute little blue-haired lady you never even suspect even knew what the word marijuana was.
You also testified before the DEA in 1988.
I did indeed.
And now, what came from that, and who did you speak with when you were there?
I testified in front of a Judge Francis Young, very intelligent man. And the feeling of the people that I was working with, Normal, and he was going to brush it off.
Okay.
And we were going to finish our testimony, and 15 minutes later he was going to say, forget it. He didn't do that. He agonized over this for a long time. And he was only to make a recommendation to the head of DEA. He couldn't make the decision. And he recommended wholeheartedly. And he had heard people all over the United States from all different kinds of illnesses, and said, in effect, for God's sakes, help these people.
And what kind of response did he receive?
The head of DEA, in effect, said, drop dead.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're stupid.
Okay. Now, we only have a couple of minutes left, and I was wondering, you commented that people of an older generation than what I am have a problem at times being able to restructure their thinking on this plant. What do you have to say to them?
Okay, we were told, and I came from an era that if my government told me, go out and stand in the middle of the traffic, I'd probably do it, because they would never tell me anything that was harmful. And it has taken me a long time to realize this is no longer true. Maybe it never was, but I thought it was. And so therefore, it's difficult. You just, it's like a religion. You may go away from the religion that you were brought up as a child, but it's always there. Oh, go with your gut feeling. If you think you're right, go for it.
Had a problem with overcooking your cannabis oil? You probably wanted to rip your hair out when you burned off all the THC, right? I even cried one time when my brownies failed to make a good impression at the party. Well, I stopped crying when I found Magical Butter. Magical Butter is a device with a microprocessor-controlled program sequencer. It was designed by a scientist and a chemist to precisely extract the benefits of various herbs. Magical Butter easily makes botanical butter, oils, tinctures, lotions, sauces, and more. Magical Butter heats your oil and your herbs at the perfect temperature every time. Check us out at magicalbutter.com because it's magical. Okay, there's a lot of science and chemistry involved, but it sure works like magic.
Welcome back to the big broadcast. We thank you for staying tuned with us, and we hope that you share us with your friends. As you can see, we are growing. You caught me in the middle of packing. Originally, I was packing for Shady Pines, but now I'm packing for a studio so that we can continue to raise the voice, yay, of the cannabis movement. And with your help, you know, we'll get more and more audience members, and more ears will hear our wonderful guest and our fantastic host here on the Marin Alliance Medical Marijuana TV Network, which we also want to say thank you very much to our friend and my little sister, who I just adore, Lynette Shaw, and has made it possible for us to be a part of, oops, hit the wrong button, to be a part of the Tommy Chung Network, which is also CannabisClub.tv. You can subscribe to us there. And you can also find us on your TV, which is pretty cool. So go there and check it out and find out more about it. We want everybody to find out how important it is to always, of course, take time for hemp and visit our website and enjoy some of our 24-hour feed. Maybe.
Right now.
Never mind. I don't want to hear an advertisement right now. But we do have a 24-hour feed there on iHeartRadio. And we ask that you visit and share us with your friends. We got a newsletter. We got a blog. Lots of groovy things there. We're going to be using this show to put a spotlight on the plant, cannabis, hemp, and all the wonderful things that it does. And like I said, when I was first hypnotized about it by my boss, Jack Hare, who hired me to run his office, which meant getting the T-shirts out and the books out and taking care of the data entry and just a whole bunch of stuff, because he had written this book called The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and he needed somebody to keep his office organized while he went out to college campuses, which he did clear across America for 3 or 4 years, promoting this book, which is now considered the Bible of the marijuana movement. And I was lucky enough to have him not only as a boss, but as a guest on my show. And those of you who might not know who Jack Hare is, or be acquainted with his book, which, because it's been a while. Jack passed away quite a while ago, and I do not know how many people are aware of his book. I know a lot of people are, but he is one of the founding fathers of the cannabis movement, and sorely missed.
So one day I walked into the marijuana office in 1973 for the California Marijuana Initiative, which in 1972 had gotten 34% of the vote and actually made the ballot. And I walked in there, and I didn't know anything about marijuana other than this funny little book that my friend and I had thought we'd put together. And we met all these kids in there that knew all these esoteric information about cannabis that we did. You know, at first we got that marijuana made almost all the paper on earth. We couldn't get up the paper sign with the fiber and fuel sign, but hemp for paper, that almost all paper was made out of marijuana until about the middle or the end of the last century. Here's a book almost 200 years old, completely made out of pot. It's made. See, all paper was made
wait
from.
a minute.
All paper was.
Thick this is.
I know, but all paper was made from rags, and the predominant rag was hemp, marijuana. And this is so. This paper lasts for near ever. And in fact, if it was legal, its pulp would now make all of our paper. 1 acre of hemp equals 4 acres trees and makes every grade of paper. And also, these kids started telling me all the towels and diapers and all these other things. And I was just interested in getting high, but I thought that was an interesting idea. And this is 1973.
Yeah, is that when you first began your research?
Well, yeah, I started writing for them, and they told me things like, how could you not research when you find out this? I was 30, maybe 33 at this time, that canvas was the Dutch pronunciation of cannabis. That canvas sales, like in old Ironsides and all through the last century, that the word canvas meant cannabis, and canvas sales were cannabis sales. And canvas covered wagons that went west were cannabis covered wagons. Wow, what a trip. And then, you know, all coming from this one plant. It was softer, warmer, longer lasting. It was an incredible plant. And I started, wow, this is interesting. But I never realized how much it could go. It would just go and go and go. That this plant could make all the paper, fiber, fuel, to make the food and protein for the whole earth. That it would be the #1 food to feed the earth's people and the earth's animals if it wasn't illegal. That's the best protein. Its seed oil almost exactly matches human blood plasma. No other seed oil on earth does. Birds live 10 to 20% longer if they have hemp seed in their diet, whether they're birds in the wild or birds in a cage. So I found out by 1973 and 4, when I found this information, that our politicians, probably through complete ignorance, had made the whole system, all of our education, so ignorant that we had become lemmings. We were killing ourselves. The number one plant for paper, fiber, and fuel from the natural cycle had been outlawed. That somehow the synthetic cycle had won, when the number one thing in the natural cycle could outproduce it and completely clean up the atmosphere. So my partner, Captain Ed, who had become my partner in 1973 in doing the politics of this, said, we have to teach everybody in the world. So we went around and told everybody. But it was a slow process. And as we did, we started to learn more about hemp.
Hey, Bob. What's up, man?
I'm just surfing all over the web, trying to find some info on medical marijuana and the best strains of cannabis, advice for growers.
Looks like you're having a hard time, bro.
There's gotta be a million websites out there.
True, but you really only need one website to find out what you need. It'll save you a bunch of time.
Sounds great. What is it?
Check out Canafo.com. Cannafo.com.
That's right, Tommy and Bob. Canafo.com is the world's first online directory, marketplace, news portal, growing advice resource, and social media platform for all things cannabis.
Dude, where's that voice coming from?
You hear that too? Maybe we ought to cut back a little.
Canafo.com is the Google, Facebook, and Craigslist of cannabis. It even has its own social media platform. Canafo.com puts everything cannabis in one place for consumers, business, and growers. Canafo.com is a free service where you can find over 9,000 different strains of cannabis.
Whoa!
Shop cannabis classifieds and much, much more. Canafo.com. Visit today and get in the know with Canafo.
Well, we have had a lot of fun here along the way in our journey. I've been doing this now for about 27 years. Jeepers. And along the way, I've had a lot of fun. We've had Willie Nelson on as a guest. Dr. Timothy Leary came on the TV show as a guest, and we'll be sharing segments of that with the audience. And you can find them on YouTube if you want to. Just type in Tim Leary Takes Time for Hemp or Willie Nelson Takes Time for Hemp. There you go. They're also on my website. And then, by happen chance, I had one of the first websites about how wonderful cannabis was, Time for Hemp. Please visit a lot. We appreciate that. And then Gatewood Galbraith encouraged me to do a podcast called Time for Hemp. I didn't think anybody was doing too much with podcasts. Boy, was I wrong. That was in 2007. I put out my first podcast, and 7 days later we had over 2,000 subscribers. It was like, wow, I guess people do want to hear about how important it is to end cannabis prohibition. Gatewood was right. American Freedom Radio picked me up along the way, and then the owner of the network, who was dedicated to ending cannabis prohibition, ended up behind bars for having medical cannabis on him. And I'm not going to go into it, but because of that, a lot of programming needed to find a new home, and we did. On iHeartRadio, we've had a lot of fun there on iHeart and Roku TV these past 4, 5, 6 years. And I thought, well, it was time to throw in the towel and have fun and go stick my toe in the sand and watch the sunset and try to figure out if my smoke rings looked anything like a butterfly or a duck or a horsey. And my little sister, Lynette Shaw, who I love dearly, she rang me up and she said that she had been given channel status on this groovy network called CC.TV, which stands for Cannabis Club TV. And she wanted to know if I wanted to do any type of programming with her and if I wanted to have fun making new content. And you know, she is fun to work with. She has a great sense of humor, but she's also very dedicated to ending cannabis prohibition. So she's a fighter and a trooper, and she also just doesn't give up. She took on the federal government, and after a handful of years, she finally won, and we are so glad for her. She's also the owner of the very first medical cannabis dispensary ever in the United States. We love you, Lynette. Anyway, she wanted to know if I wanted to roll up my sleeves and help create some new content, and I thought, well, you know, I am retired, and I'm not doing much, And I hadn't made it to the beach yet. I just started packing, as a matter of fact. So we're on a new journey together, as a matter of fact. Lynette's building a new studio. We've got cameras that we're going to start using when we get a crew of people in here. We've got new software, as you can tell, we're learning how to figure out. And we got all kinds of fun in store. We got cartoons already in development for this wonderful network about how wonderful cannabis is. And we're going to be using this network as well to remind people of who the founders were. And I mean were, meaning some of them have already left us. Jack Hare is no longer with us. And a very close friend of mine and a very close friend of Lynette Shaw and a very close friend of a lot of other people is no longer with us as well. Dennis Perone. And we're going to be showing a clip from my interview with him here in a minute. But Dennis was basically the founder of the medical cannabis movement. Hats off to you, Dennis. We love you. We miss you. The world's so much more empty without you in it. And so we want to make sure that people like Dennis and Jack Hare and Michelle Rainey are not forgotten. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this program here on Time for Hemp.
Joining us today on the program was one of San Francisco's hardest working activists, Dennis Perone. Dennis has been working in the gay community, trying to change and make a difference for the people there, as well as working in the hemp community. And his political ideas and his political efforts have made a change and an impact on that city that will last for its history. Dennis, thank you for being on our show.
Thank you, Casper, for having me.
One of the things that I was talking about in regards to the changing of history in San Francisco is Proposition W. Some people nationally are aware of it, many aren't, but what you did with Proposition W is really a landmark.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. It was Proposition W and Proposition P arised out of a marijuana bust that I had. I was busted in 1977. I used to run the Big Top Pot supermarket.
Okay.
And it was a one-stop pot supermarket, one-stop shop for all your pot needs.
Okay.
And it was a very elaborate setup. And when it came to San Francisco, I had trouble buying pot, and I had to like kiss a lot of ass, and I had a lot of hassles getting pot. So I just decided to start a pot supermarket myself, or sell pot myself. It evolved into a supermarket because there were so many different kinds of pot, and at that time, and different prices and everything. So I tried to get as many different kinds of pot together in one spot as I could.
Okay.
And the idea grew and grew and grew, and before you knew it, I had 3 scales, 15 people working. I had 4 people that all they did was roll joints. And every night we would sell pot to about 500-600 people. It was a very elaborate setup, beautiful house, and customers were treated with dignity and respect, and no one was ever gypped. In 1977, I got busted, like I said, and we had a 4-month trial after I got busted. I didn't mention that I got shot during that raid.
In the leg, right?
Yeah, I got shot in the leg. What it was is the supermarket was going down, and I heard a ruckus at the door, and I went to the stairway to see what was going on, and I see this guy coming up with a gun, big old floppy hat and fatigue jacket. And I think the first thing I think, of course, is a rip, that these guys are going to rob us. So the first thing I do is grab something close by, which was a empty Alhambra water bottle, and I hold it up the stairs, like, go down the stairs and we'll forget all about this. But before I'd even got the bottle up, the guy had shot me. And he got me with the first shot and threw me back, and then another shot went past my ear. And this was the point where I was convinced that these guys were murderous rip-offs, that they were going to kill everybody in the house, so I was willing to give them everything I had, of course. The guy comes up the stairs and puts a gun to my head And I'm thinking that, goodbye, Dennis. Fortunately, another guy comes in the room, and it turns out he's a cop. Turns out they're all cops, much to my surprise. So I was shot, and I remember the day that day they were taking me out of the house on a stretcher, and out in front of the house there was 500 or 600 people that had gathered around the house, mainly my friends and customers. And when they took me out, I shot a peace sign to those people, and the whole street screamed, "Dennis, Dennis, Dennis,
That kind of support
Dennis."
must have helped you heal.
And it did help me feel a lot better, even though I knew it was kind of curtains for the big top.
Yeah.
Serious Seeds is your source for quality cannabis and sativa seeds. Serious Seeds are the creators of legendary strains like AK-47, Bubblegum, Chronic, Cali Mist, and White Russian. The AK-47 is probably the most awarded strain on the planet. The high THC content of AK-47 makes it the perfect medical strain for patients seeking quick pain relief. Cali Mist is an almost pure sativa. Female medical cannabis patients have reported that this strain helps relieve menstrual cramps. Serious Seeds just acquired another Dutch high-quality seed bank, Magus Genetics. From now on, Serious Seeds can offer you even more award-winning strains. The fine folks at Serious Seeds strive to breed the best cannabis genetics that they can find, so patients can rely on the effectiveness of their medicine. Go to SeriousSeeds.com to grow your medicine. That site again is SeriousSeeds.com.
Well, hello back again. I appreciate that very much. We are learning the equipment. We're having fun here, to say the least, and we're going to have a whole lot more fun now that Lynette Shaw and I are starting to figure out how to run the cameras and get studios set up. And instead of moving to Shady Pines, I can move into a high-definition studio and start interviewing guests again. That's something I've done along the way. I've never quit doing that. I've been a guest speaker at the Seattle Hemp Fest several times and making a point to go this year. They're calling it the 420 Fest, which they have to. It's weird. In state of Washington, even though it's legal to have medicinal cannabis and even recreational cannabis, right? You still cannot use the cannabis leaf in your advertising, which is true in California and so many other states where it's legal, which is stupid. But here on this network, we're not bound to any state. Thank you very much, because we're global, and we're a private network, and we just don't care. So, if you are a person who has a product or has a business that you would like to advertise to the cannabis movement and use the cannabis leaf, and if you got a pipe you want to show people how to use and not use tobacco but use cannabis, if you got fertilizer that you want to promote that you think will give great buds, well, show the buds, don't show tomato plants on this network, because we are all about cannabis. You know, you can go down to a local television network and try to advertise your bongs or advertise your book about cannabis, just a book about cannabis, or even a documentary, and the TV stations will not even take your money. Even if you're paying $300 a minute, they won't take your money, because they're in association with other companies that are in association with the Partnership for a Drug-Free America, and they just won't take your money. But here, no, we'll take your money and we'll help promote you, make sure that our audience finds you. We're building a website for affiliate marketing so that maybe you can get your products in front of our audience as well. I mean, we're going to start doing what we can to make a loud noise, and so we're not going to get quiet here. And that's how I've been along the way, which is how I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of groovy people. Like there's this one guy who's got a travel show on PBS. His name's Rick Steves, and you would think that he would probably be pretty low-key if he wasn't in cannabis, or he might not even appreciate cannabis at all. But he's also a guest speaker almost every year at the Seattle Hemp Fest because he's from the Seattle area and he loves what Vivian McPeak does, as we all do. Vivian is the founder of Seattle Hemp Fest, and you should at least go check out their website if you can make it a point to visit the Hemp Fest during a holiday trip. That would be fun for you and your friends to do so. But anyway, he speaks there a lot, and there's always great bands there. I mean, several great bands. I mean, it's a mile of entertainment. Seriously, there's like every quarter of a mile or so, there's a tent set up, or there's bands performing and speakers and vendors. It's just, you can't believe, it's the biggest cannabis festival in North America. And that's where I met this cool dude named Rick Steves.
So it's also, in a lot of ways, like a conservative slant, I think, you know. And does this cause any problem in any way at all with PBS and your series?
I'm not advocating smoking marijuana. I'm advocating legalizing it for adults who want to enjoy it as a civil liberty. So that's very American, that's very conservative, and I would think anybody who cares about fundamentally what it is to be an American would applaud this. I think most people would agree with you and me that this is a civil liberty, but most people are also in a situation where, because of all the fear and lies in our society, they can't talk freely about it. I'm lucky because I can talk freely about it because nobody can fire me, and I just really believe this is the truth. So, and I'm thankful that PBS is cool enough to recognize that. I suppose if I wanted to get some underwriters for my show, they might say we don't want to underwrite Rick Steves because it's associated with drug policy discussion. I guess that's their right if they want to, but I think more and more people are realizing that the truth is on our side, and I'm really excited that Oregon and Washington and Colorado are likely to be the first states in the country to legalize marijuana, and for me that is a beautiful thing.
And for industrial hemp, and I want to remind people to donate to PBS because of your donations. Great programs like Rick Steves stays on the air. There's other great programming as well, where they can speak their voice.
Thank you very much for that. And the beautiful thing about PBS, it's one part of the media that is not dominated by corporate interests.
Right.
Public broadcasting is motivated by a passion for people better understanding the world and embracing life.
Yep, and that's true with us here. It's always been true with the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network, and it's also true with the Marin Alliance Medical Marijuana TV Network. We are more dedicated in changing the world and making it a better place, and we are not interested in corporate dollars. You can't buy us. You can't buy our message. Our message is end cannabis prohibition. Our message is stop the arresting of sick people for them going for their medications. Stop doing these horrible things with taxpayer dollars to keep human beings incarcerated for touching a plant. I mean, none of this makes any sense. And so, anyway, how we're going to grow is that you're going to share us with your friends. It's plain and simple. You're going to turn in a lot. You can go to timeforhemp.com and download these videos and share them with your friends for free. And you can tune into Roku TV. You can subscribe to cc.tv and watch us there. Send letters to our sponsors. Let our sponsors know how much you care about this movement that we're involved with, and how much you appreciate our voice being heard here on the network, and how much you appreciate them making it possible for us to be heard. Otherwise, our sponsors don't know if they're being heard by anybody. So at least, please, even if you hate the show, write in and say, how can you support a piece of crappy show like that with such low production standards? Which, I'm telling you, we just got the keys to the network. We got cameras, we got sound equipment. We just can't wait to hit the ground running. So we're going to learn as we go. And all the way along the way, we're going to take, you know it, time for hemp. You got that right, baby.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and spend some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yes, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rest. Well, time for help! Yeah!